Well, welcome back. It's still Good Morning, Anambra, the Monday edition of the show. There are forceful arguments around the world that the youth should be at the center of decision-making process and leadership, even at the highest level in the society. And of course, Nigeria and Anambra State cannot be left out in the global campaign. That is, if it genuinely wants to move forward. All right, and we are considering the topic, Anambra Youth Leadership. And we also have guests in the house who will help us in this topic this morning. We have Comrade Ebele Ngini, Assistant Secretary, Enugu Ukwu Youth Council, EYC. You're welcome to Good Morning, Anambra, this morning.
Thank you.
All right, we also have Comrade Akweke Francis Okoye, Stakeholder, Enugu Ukwu Youth Council. You're also welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, good morning. It's good to have you, Anambra Youth Leadership. It's quite amazing how the youths are beginning to, come out and want to make a statement, and that's quite amazing. We have this growing challenge of cultism in some communities in the state. As young persons, how do you feel about this, and what do you think can be done to manage the problem? Let me start with you, Comrade.
Yes, as we know, youth will always be involved in some actions that you can term indecent, that you can term an offshoot of youth exorbitance. But be that as it may, societies being able to bring out strategies to curtail, because you cannot actually say that you will wipe away such vices like cultism and the rest. You cannot totally wipe it away. So far human beings exist, they must continue to occur. But what we do is to bring out some avenues to really tackle them. Let me use Enugu as a case study, because that's where I come from. So I have to tell you what is happening in my town as regards the issue of tackling court menace, courtism. Last 3 years, the Enugu Community Development Union, through one of our stakeholders, came up with an idea of seeking partnership with the Nigerian police to see ways and avenues we can tackle courtism. Because prior before that last 3 years, we had this high rate of courtism in around Enugu Axis. So the strategy we came up with was to work with the Nigerian police. We gave them some parcels of land where they set up this, what we call SACs, special anti-court squad, yeah. So that's what they call them. So we gave them land, they built their office there. And I am meant to understand that it's only in Enugu that we have such anti-courtism office or department within this part of our Anambra. So, and since they set up that organization, the town, in conjunction with the leadership of the Nigerian police, our Enugu Youth Commission, led by the immediate past president, and with our Enugu parent body, Enugu Community Development Union, led by our President General Ozobonim Fuako. So they, in synergy, worked to bring out modalities to tackle this issue of courtism. And I can tell you, as it stands today, the rate of courtism within Enugu has reduced to the barest minimum. We have names of most of our youths, our community youths who are involved in courtism. A good number of them have either been arrested for one court activity or the other, or have left the town, because the arrangement is that either you denounce courtism or you leave. Last year, the President General of my community, Ozobonim Fuako, around August last year, organized what he called denunciation program, where everybody who happened to be a member of any court group was asked to come openly and denounce. And if you denounce openly, your sins will be forgiven. And we did it in conjunction with the DSS, SSS, Nigerian police, the DP Abagana came personally, DSS office in Abagana. Yes, Njikoka, Abagana is the left portal of Njikoka. He came personally with their men, all these people, and this NDLEA officers. They were there during that August 2018 program. And we had about 7 youths from Enugu who were known courtists that denounced membership of their court groups. Though it's unfortunate that out of these 7 that denounced, 2 later went back to the court activity, and currently that youth that went back are languishing in Anambra prison. Then the 5 that did not go back are now gainfully engaged, because our town has a program where if you denounce, you'll be empowered. Some of them were empowered. About 3 of them are in Lagos. Okay.
Empowerment. Let's come to you. We are still talking about Enugu Kurada. But recently, we discovered that the killers of the PG of Nimo, that is Iboka, it's a cultist, and Nimo is a neighboring town to Enugu. Should that be kind of concern or worry to you?
Yeah, somebody said injury to one is injury to all, and a threat to one human anywhere in the world is a threat to humanity. So it's a call for utmost concern. But like he said, I believe we should make activities that will make cultism very, very, very unattractive. And one of such activities is engaging the youth, sensitizing the youth, so in order to reorient the youth, make them see that cultism is a serious social vice, that there is no gain in being a cultist. It shames your family, it makes you lose focus. Then, in lieu of showing them this, then show them the right way to follow. And that's what my town has been able to do. And it is so far so good. Nimo is a neighboring town to Enugu, and invariably the activities of Nimo should be rubbing off on Enugu. But I don't think it is doing so to a large extent, because we are not treating cultism with kid gloves. So whatever activities that may be going on in Nimo, even if there are Enugu indigenes who are engaging themselves in whatever activities there, I think it ends. We are not taking cultism lightly at all in Enugu.
Okay, that's amazing, because you talked about engaging the youths. That's what they should, we should do, or the federal government should do, or the state government should do. And now we're still talking about cultism. Let me come to you, comrade. With all those cultism challenges, now, don't you think that it will affect opportunities for the youths, and it may actually make them not get the desired thing they desire to get? Now, a lot of people feel over time that why should you give leadership to the youth that they are not ready? Looking at what is happening, the youth's cultism here and there, killings, murder, is this not a big concern that the youths probably may not get the opportunities needed to achieve what they should achieve?
Yes, it's a truism, it's a big concern. That whenever you hear of cultism, the first thing you think of the youth, because the preponderance of whoever that is involved in cultism, preponderance of them are youths. But I cannot actually agree with you that because youths are involved in cultism, they may not be able to get opportunities to be fully involved in either governance, leadership, or what have you. Because it's not every youth that is a cultist. In fact, the number of those that are involved in cultism are very minimal compared to the number of youths you have in every given community. Be that as it may, it is important and very imperative that each community brings out programs on how to engage their youth. Because every Nigerian youth comes from a community, and every community youth come from a village. So let's take it from the village union. How many of these village union are engaging their youth meaningfully or gainfully? Now let me give you a typical example. I will always call Enugu for mention Enugu, because that's where I come from. In my town, for instance, if you sometimes when you hear of engaging, because engaging doesn't necessarily mean giving somebody money or opening a business for somebody. It's not only when you do that you say you are engaging him. If there are things that you know that youths are supposed to be involved in, it's important you bring them. Take, for instance, when you want to take a decision in a community and you don't involve the youth, maybe at the traditional council level, at the youth, parents development union level, you take a decision there without involving the youth. Some of them will be feeling, hey, then we speak here, but I was there, okay, can I go see and can I before you know it, up your courtism. But whereby if you want to take a decision, you involve them. I don't think such will happen. And that is what is happening in Enugu today. Because the leadership of Enugu, starting from a traditional ruler, Igwe Sara Fepe, has set a pace in Enugu together with our President General, that every decision taken, all the organs in our town, the youth body, the parent body, the women wing, the traditional authority, and every other stakeholder must be involved before you take any decision. It's part of the engagement.
Okay.
With what he said, do you feel that the youths are ready for leadership?
Yes, I think the youths are ready, or very, very ready for leadership. I beg to disagree with what you said by, raising pointers that because of these cultism and other social vices that are inimical to the development of every society, that the youths may not be ready for leadership. And I ask, who sponsors these cultists? I don't think people just go out there to cause mayhem for the fun or for the or for no reason at all. There are people who are deliberately keeping the youth down. So I'm coming. So when you talk about the youths, you also talk about people who said, "Go do this for me, so that this man will be down, so that I will continue being in power for the next 20, 30 years." God also talk to the person who goes out there and churn out rubbish narratives. Somebody told the youths, "I don't think you are ready for leadership." And when you repeat such narrative over and over again, the youths who have lost their ability to think for themselves tend to believe this.
Almost like when things like that are being said, I think it should be a challenge to you. This person say, "I'm not ready." Let me show them that we are really ready.
And I think a lot of youths are showing that they are ready. Mark Okoye is a youth. But I have problems with people who deliberately choose to close their eyes to giant strides that the youths are achieving and pointing us to the directions or areas where youths are failing. These things are neither here nor there.
Can I lend credence to what he's saying? Recently in the March 9th State House of Assembly election, I was a candidate. I contested under a Young Progressive Party, YPP. Now, during the election, I had many youths who showed me evidence of people, the elderly ones, telling them to go and cause mayhem, go and sponsor violence so that this election will not hold. And I still had information also that those people that were sponsored to come and cause mayhem did not actually do that. And let me take it this way. If all those people that were asked to go and cause mayhem were armed, like maybe they were given guns to go and shoot at the polling booth or stuff like that, and at the end of the day, you didn't take back the arm, you gave that youth to go and cause violence, don't you think that youth can use that arm and enter and start forming court groups and stuff like that, armed robbery and things like that? So it is equally important that we still talk to our parents, the elderly ones, who are sponsoring all these people, like he's saying. Then again, I am happy that when such youths were asked to go and do such things, and they didn't do it, it shows that the youths are ready for leadership. Because if actually they were given the guns to go and kill, to go and cause problem at the polling booth, and they didn't execute it, that means that youth has something upstairs. Yes.
Take it up from there again. You just talked about you contesting for the position of the House of Assembly member. Let's talk about you're young, and that was quite amazing, great feat. We look at around the world, the president of France is young, in some other countries. Now, my question is, why do we find it very difficult to empower young people as leaders? Do you think it's because they don't trust the young ones, or they don't have the ability or capacity? What do you feel, considering the fact that you came out?
I quite disagree with you.
So what do you think is the
these
problem?
days, youths are really involved in leadership, governance. Let me use myself as an example. I was 36 when I contested for State House of Assembly. Is that not quite young? Yes. And I ran an election that the whole of Anambra State saw what this guy is up to.
That's my question.
That I was not elected does not mean that the people...
Why do they find it difficult to empower young people like you that have desired?
Contesting and losing is an empowerment. Contesting and losing is an empowerment. I mustn't win an election before you say I have been empowered. Now let me give you an example. In the next 3 weeks, I'll be going to Abuja. I've already been appointed a legislative aide. If I didn't show the stuff I was made of when I was contesting that election, with the person who is appointing me a legislative aide,
how many people came out?
Something in me.
How many of the young people at 36 came out?
See, we may not have achieved it today, but we can achieve it tomorrow. But one thing I can assure you is that contest, that election that I contested from a relatively unknown party, YPP, that election is a good moral booster for our youth. We inspired a generation. And I know a good number of people who said, if Oyi could go from a poor family, Oyi that they know that he doesn't have money, and at the end he contested this election with all the waves he made. If Oyi could do it, I can do it.
Right.
Watch what will happen in the next.
All right, let's come back to Enugu. We know you just had an election, youth election. It was successful on Saturday. Correct. And we've heard of a crisis and sometimes challenges when youth in some communities organizes their leadership election. Now, my question is, can you share with us what are the factors that made this thing possible, that is, that made the outcome a successful one, and the Enugu are really happy about that?
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. I will gladly share. Yeah, of course I will share, because without, I want to sound modest, but I think if ASATU, we are even ready to collaborate and work with ASATU. If the Enugu model will be applied by every town in Anambra State, it will change our psyche about elections, that elections are not do or die affair. Two, that elections is all about bringing people who are ready to serve the people. Look at what we did. We started from orientation. The Enugu Youth Commission did their job wonderfully well with the Enugu Community Development Union. They started with reorientation, sensitization, telling the youths what leadership is all about, and telling the youths of Enugu that if you are good, if you're a round peg, you should go to a round hole. If you're a square peg, you should go to a square hole also. So, and they took time to do that.
Can you pause it there? Hello, good morning. Your name and your location.
The line is breaking. Could you please call us back? You could just move away and try calling us back. The line is breaking. Okay, you're saying
so. Immediately after the sensitization, the mind became ready for the election. And again, on the issue of transparency, they did it fine. What they did, in Enugu, we have 4 quarters. And what they did, they find out that in order to manage these elections, and bring out elections that will be transparent, free, fair, and credible to all, that it must be a delegate election. So what they did, for every quarter, they gave 30 slots. making it 120. And I'm coming from a village called Omatole Ifitani, which is in the Ifitani water, and we have 11 villages. And we got these 30 slots, and we shared it according to the number of, and mind you, it is an even number against an odd number, 30 to 11. So what we did was we said two can do, and we wrote down yes, nay for people who may get villages who may get above 2, and it worked out perfectly well for us. And the other quarters, they shared it accordingly. And what it means is that the youths of every village, we are able to sit down together and present people they trusted, who will be their delegates.
That's where I wanted to come from, because if I allow you, you're going to tell us the whole process. But what was the key thing that played out that made the whole election successful? You said trust. What other thing?
Yeah, trust. Massive sensitization to get the mind ready. Then getting people with integrity who wouldn't want to soil their integrity.
Okay, you've been elected as the secretary. Now, what's your plan? What's your program for Enugu youth? Well, you'll be there for the next 3 years.
Yes. So you have just 50 seconds to tell us that. Time is now.
First, there are Millennium Development Goals that are geared towards making the youths very, very productive. Simple. We are going to key into this, and just watch me after the next 3 years. I think Enugu youths will be ready to take over Anambra State.
I like that part. Just watch me. There was this style you put. Watch me, man. Nothing. All right. Yes, we're watching you, and we'll really keep watching you. Let me quickly go to you, because time is not our friend now. We know what the governor of the state has done in terms of putting youth in the places of power. For instance, we talk about Mark Okoye being the youngest commissioner. We know about Bonaventure Enemali and many other senior assistants to the governor. A lot of youths are in this administration. And recently you also vied for a position of which you lost. But right now you told us you've also been appointed as a legislative aide. Now my question is, how can we make this a normal thing in our society, in Anambra State, to give youth more opportunity in governance and, of course, and things that happen in the country?
Private sector too.
Let us keep believing in the youth. If Governor Obiano does not believe in the youth, he wouldn't have appointed all these people that he appointed who are used to help him succeed, and they are doing well. So another thing is to equally emulate the Governor Obiano leadership style, then again, believing in our youth, because it is when you believe that you give that person trust or opportunity to man the position. So the key thing is believing in our youth. We can do it.
And I want to add something. We also have the rights to our mistakes, but the mistake wouldn't come at such a huge price to pay. So let's keep trying the youths. Whoever fell, remove him, put another youth. I think we can build on that.
I'm watching you.
Keep watching.
All right, well, this is the March Weekend take on the program. Good morning, Anambra. Well, we'll keep saying it. The youths are the future of tomorrow. Of course, you've seen them in the studio this morning. It's quite amazing to have great young men in the studio. We've got the secretary that was just elected in the Enugu community to really pilot the affairs for the next 3 years, right?
Yeah,
of course, we've also got a great youth who actually contested for an election that he lost, but he lost gallantly, and has also gotten an appointment to continue the good works of which he actually felt he could do. And that was why he actually vied for the position. I want to say a very big thank you to Comrade Ebele Ngini, Assistant Secretary, Enugu Youth Council, EYC.
You're welcome.
Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And of course, Comrade Akweke Francis Okoye, stakeholder, Enugu Youth Council. Good to have you on the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's about that time.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of Good Morning Anambra. But don't forget that 9 o'clock news, our morning news will come, and then followed by sports. Today, I'm Chidima Oranwa. Many thanks for joining us. Tomorrow, it's yet another day.
I'm Ebere Ogunna. Many thanks for joining us. Good morning.